Now, I've been selling couches for my entire adult life. I've been to plenty of factories and workshops over the years, but I've never actually made a couch myself, so I don't really know everything there is to know about all the intricacies of what makes a great couch a truly great couch. So I came down here in downtown Los Angeles to MadeRight, California, where my friend Edgar and his team are making couches the old-fashioned way. Edgar, shall we hug?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I call them couches, you call them sofas, but today we're gonna come together and learn a little bit about how a really, really good sofa is made.
What we're trying to do a little bit differently is actually put good materials in the sofas and actually do it the way their parents' sofas were made back in the day, putting good materials in the sofa itself, long-lasting materials, not cutting the corners and all that. And we're seeing a lot of longevity out of those sofas.
Talk to me about the fabric process, because it's not just sewing what you do.
What happens when we tailor the fabric, we cut our patterns based on stretch. All fabrics have a different stretch. We offer like 60 fabrics, and so each one of those is a little bit different. And so every fabric type will make a different pattern for it in particular, right? So that when we take that sofa and we put it all together, when the cushion collapses, when you're sitting into it, then it comes back up, and we don't want that rippling, right? That butt wrinkling, we like to call it in the industry. And so we take a pattern that will make it maybe a little bit smaller, and then we'll shove our cushion in there. The cushion will be sized accordingly to give it some push, to bounce that fabric back up.
You ever see Tommy Boy, where Chris Farley goes, "Fat guy in a little coat"?
That guy in a little coat. That guy in a little coat.
So this is a great example of one of those things I wanted to show you about the old world construction, right? Each of these this is patterns. This is our Catalina Pearl. This actually is our best-selling fabric. I love this fabric because it tailors well, right? When we fold it, we do the top stitch. It has a real nice way when we sew it like that across. It just looks really beautiful. And these patterns are all basically, again, sized based on the particular cushion. These are actual cushions that are going into each specific order. And these are kind of special cushions. And this is part of our little, magic secret sauce. This is why our sofa cushions last a long, long, long time. This is what our parents had. They had springs in their cushions. And so you'll see here where we've got a layer of foam, an inner spring, another layer of foam, and then it's all encased.
Okay, the first thing I'll say is that this reminds me of a Twinkie. But what sets a great sofa apart from a just okay sofa when it comes to upholstery? What are some of the things that you're looking out for as an expert and a maker of couches?
I'm looking for waviness in here. I'm looking for top stitch, right? A top stitched boxed panel like this, is real important. The stitching needs to be straight. And then on top of that, the upholstery process, right? How this leather is stretched over.
Well, now it's time to package these up and put it all together. So let's take a look at a few finished products here to see what a MadeRight sofa looks like.
So this is a great example of a cushion that is relatively cozy. Leather sofas aren't necessarily cozy, right? And my personal approach is to make a cushion that maybe has a little more give, right? We've been talking about that push and pull and all that. In my leather, I soften it up a bit. And the reason why I do it, it kind of goes back to my grandmother. My grandmother had this old leather sofa that was so firm when you sat on it. It was like sitting on a balloon. And so with my leathers, I take a little bit of the opposite approach. I open it up a bit so that we can get a little sink down, because leather doesn't stretch the same way as, say, a fabric does.
I see what you're saying. But let's take a look at this over here, because this is the finished product from the fabric that we saw being cut before.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing, because there's so much after those patterns are cut. There's so much additional workmanship and tailoring that goes into making it perfect. This here is one of your wood bases, and it is made of?
This is solid walnut. This goes on our O-side collection. So we would put this typically on something like this. There'd be a black material here. This would sit on top of here, and they would screw it down as the final product. And then once we've buttoned it all up, put the dust cover on, then it goes off to shipping, and out the door it goes. All in 3 weeks.
Well, Edgar, thank you for taking me through this.
Thank you, and thanks for coming in and walking through and getting a little geeky with me.
Oh, I'll get geeky with you any day of the week.